A storm just hit Ottawa, and it didn't come from Washington this time. China's ambassador to Canada has just made an offer so bold it could change everything. Beijing says it's ready to remove its crushing tariffs on Canadian canola, the same tariffs that have been bleeding farmers dry for years, if Ottawa agrees to drop its 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. No threats, no backroom deals, just a straight-up challenge. And a lifeline at the same time. Because this isn't just about cars or crops, it's about control. And for the first time in decades, Canada is being forced to answer one brutal question. Will it keep doing Washington's bidding, or finally start negotiating for itself? Let's rewind the clock. Before Donald Trump even returned to the White House, Canada decided to play America's game. The U.S. had accused China of illegally subsidizing electric vehicles and slapped a 100% tariff on them. Ottawa didn't even hesitate. No investigation, no independent policy. Just a copy-paste from Washington. That single decision lit the fuse. Beijing hit back hard. And it didn't target the U.S. It targeted Canada, cutting off one of our most important exports, canola. The result? Prairie farmers crushed. Prices collapsed. Storage bins overflowing with crops no one would buy. And the worst part? The war didn't start in Beijing. It started in Ottawa, with Canada fighting someone else's battle, paying someone else's price. In the prairies, the real victims aren't politicians. They're farmers. Men and women who built this country's backbone, now watching their crops rot. Rick White from the Canola Growers Association said it bluntly. Farmers are seeing devastating losses. Prices are down, exports are frozen, storage is full, and the bills keep coming. Canola used to be our pride, the golden seed of the Canadian prairies. Now it's turned into a symbol of Ottawa's weakness. Every day those tariffs stay in place, farmers are paying for political theater, a show that benefits no one in Canada. And as taxpayers are forced to subsidize the fallout, the message couldn't be clearer. When Ottawa fights for what... Let's be honest, this isn't the first time Canada's paid the price for loyalty. We backed the U.S. on aluminum and steel tariffs and got hit in return. We followed them on lumber policy and got slapped again. And now, after mimicking the 100% EV tariffs, Trump's America turned around and targeted Canada anyway. As one analyst put it, that's how Trump plays the game. The Americans get something, then hit you over the head with it. Washington calls it partnership, but for Canada, it's just punishment dressed as diplomacy. And yet, every time it happens, Ottawa nods, smiles, and says it's for strategic alignment. But alignment means nothing when the only direction is down. Enter Beijing. No threats, no theatrics, just an offer that exposed the entire game. You remove your EV tariffs, China said, and we'll lift our canola restrictions. Simple, reciprocal, diplomatic. The kind of deal Canada used to make before Washington started pulling the strings. And here's the kicker. This isn't charity. It's strategy. Because while the U.S. weaponizes tariffs, China weaponizes opportunity. They're not asking Canada to take sides. They're asking it to think for itself. It's a checkmate move, and suddenly the whole world is watching how Canada plays it. Behind closed doors in Ottawa, Mark Carney and his team know what's at stake. They met with the canola industry in September, farmers desperate for relief, begging for the government to stop the bleeding. Carney's stuck in a high-stakes balancing act. If he accepts China's deal, he risks infuriating Washington. If he refuses, he'll crush thousands of farmers and watch Canada's agricultural heartland decay. Either way, history will remember this moment as the test of Canada's independence. For years, politicians talked about diversifying trade. Now, the chance is right in front of them. But it requires one thing Ottawa has avoided for decades: courage.
Here's the genius move that few are talking about. Instead of blocking Chinese electric vehicles, invite their automakers to build them in Canada. Let them set up plants in Ontario, Quebec, or Alberta. Use Canadian resources, Canadian workers, and Canadian innovation. We've got the lithium, the aluminum, the rare minerals, everything the EV world runs on. And most importantly, we've got the trust and transparency that make global investors feel safe. Why fight for scraps when we can build the future ourselves? Imagine cars rolling off assembly lines stamped "Made in Canada," powered by international cooperation, not dictated control. That's not surrender. That's strategy. For once, Canada actually holds the cards. China needs canola. Canada needs EVs. That's not weakness. That's leverage. The U.S. can't afford to lose Canada, but Washington's arrogance has pushed it to the edge. Every time we follow their rules, we lose. Every time we act independently, we win. And this time, with Carney at the table, Canada might just be ready to flip the script. Not as a follower, but as a leader. The world is shifting, from oil to EVs, from dominance to diplomacy, and Canada's at the center of it. If it plays this right, it could reshape the entire balance between East and West. This isn't just another trade deal. It's a defining moment. Will Canada keep mirroring America's tariffs and tantrums, or finally act like a sovereign nation, making decisions that serve its own people? Let's call it what it is. Lifting tariffs isn't giving in. It's taking control. It's saying no to being Washington's pawn. It's saying yes to our farmers, our workers, and our future. Because Washington won't save Canadian jobs. Beijing won't hand us opportunities. Canada has to build them on its own terms. So here's the real question for every Canadian watching. Will we keep playing by America's rules, or finally write our own? The world is watching Canada right now, not because of a tariff, but because of what it represents. A country caught between loyalty and logic, between obedience and independence. China's offer isn't a threat, it's a mirror. And what Canada does next will show the world who's really in charge.